My name is Alicia Shapiro with AiNews.com, and welcome to another episode of Driving Tomorrow Conversations with Industry Leaders, where we explore the latest developments and discussions in the world of artificial intelligence. Today, we're joined and welcome Raz Choudhury, the visionary behind SAM AI. In an era where conversational AI is becoming a pivotal part of our digital landscape, Roz has led SAM AI to the forefront of this innovation, offering a platform that reshapes how businesses interact with technology. Starting as an engineer at IBM and later founding the award-winning Office Interactive, Roz's entrepreneurial journey has led him to create SAM AI with a mission to humanize technology interactions. By integrating conversational AI, SAM AI not only enhances the way businesses communicate with their data, but also promises a blend of productivity and personalization, which is unseen before. Their approach aims to empower businesses, particularly the small giants, to thrive in the digital age by streamlining processes, enhancing decision making, and fostering growth through AI driven solutions. Thank you for joining us today, Roz.
Thank you, Alicia, for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Reflecting on your entrepreneurial journey, what were the pivotal moments that helped shape your vision for Sam AI?
Yeah, it's been a long journey, and we, when we first started, this is back in late 2016, we wanted to come up with the software that was developed for growth, meaning for sales and marketing, but more importantly, a software that didn't feel like a software. We wanted to add a human
Right.
element to it. So we've been coding collectively as a team for over a decade. So
Wow.
we weren't trepidatious about like exploring NLP, NLU, artificial
Mm,
intelligence. We already dabbled with, the early versions of AI in terms of predictive analytics, things like that. So this was kind of an R&D fun project. I cannibalized my old company, took some of the best developers out of it, and embarked on SAM AI. So the motivation was really, can we actually stop clicking and tapping uh, and sequentially doing things on a software, which seems silly because software computers, they're supposed to be smart enough, but when you take a closer look, they're pretty dumb. Meaning you
sure.
literally have to punch in keys and tell it what to do one click at a time.
Right.
So we dabbled with NLP, NLU. This is late 2016. We struggled really, really hard for the first 2 years. I mean, we literally wasted months and months of work because at that time
Wow.
there really wasn't much of a framework.
Hmm.
And we weren't just trying to create a chatbot. I mean, our idea was not, okay,
Right.
let's create a chatbot. Our idea was generate intelligence on demand. You know, growing up in the late 90s, there was a book written by Bill Gates called Business at the Speed of Thought. My yogic philosophy, which is all about thought and how thoughts travel at the speed of light,
Yeah.
was always an inspiration. So I figured, well, if we could talk to a system, like in Star Trek, right? If we could talk
Hmm.
to a system, wouldn't we be able to get things done faster? And I'm not talking about Siri or Alexa type of stuff. I'm talking about like send out a marketing campaign to this group of clients Thursday at 2 p.m. using
Wow.
template one. That's it. Or tell me how many meetings I had with founders in Chicago that are in agriculture, right? Just like
Yeah.
that. And I don't care where the data sits, whether it's in my Google Calendar or in my CRM, figure it out, get that data figured out. So from the beginning, our goal was not to come up with just something simple, but to come up with something that does a lot of cool stuff in the back end. I'm talking about hundreds of processes in the back end and deliver something within seconds that's instantaneous, that you know that drives growth. So the idea was, can we make business at the speed of thought a reality? And that's kind of the genesis of SAM AI.
Wow. That is so fascinating. And I love your analogy with Star Trek. I mean, that would be amazing.
Well,
Yeah.
imagine Captain Picard, next generation, just
Yes.
just just getting
Make
things
it
done.
so.
Yeah.
Roz, for our readers who are familiar with platforms like HubSpot, Could you explain how SAM AI compares to that? Would it be accurate to describe SAM AI as a conversational AI enhanced version of such platforms, or does it go beyond that?
Yeah, I mean, HubSpot did a great job. I mean, about 10, 15 years ago, they really understood what marketers needed, and they carved out a market of their own, which is demand generation or inbound marketing, right? And looking at HubSpot now, it's sort of a legacy system, in my opinion, mainly because
Okay.
it's it does consolidate your sales and marketing, but the way they do things, I mean, there's so much training that's needed. There's also this this notion that content is everything, right?
Mhm.
And SEO is everything. So their strategy is very different than ours. And they're a publicly traded company. Their their marquee clients are also publicly traded company.
Yeah.
So we don't necessarily go after the same type of clients. I mean, sure, they cater to some of our, some of the markets that we cater to, but I think at this stage they're a mature company that kind of does good things for large companies into compartmentalized departments. But when you look at companies that have 5 to 5,000 employees, that's that's sort of the growth engine of America, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, 50% of GDP comes from these types of businesses. Uh, Nearly all innovation comes from these types of businesses, and half of U.S. payroll is generated by these growing small businesses. So our philosophy has always been, can we cater to a group of founders, CEOs of companies that are 5 to 5,000 strong, an affinity group that I myself identify with,
Mhm.
and address their needs in a way where we're not asked to be trained on 10 different modules and 5 different software and buy things here
Yeah.
and integrate stuff there. Can we just literally talk to something, and whether the data sits on an Outlook or Google Analytics or SAM or something else, just talk to it, get things done much faster, much better, with nuanced intelligence that you cannot find anywhere else. So yeah, we're not HubSpot from a point of view of the tech stack that we have. There are
Mhm.
similar features. We have our own CRM, we have our own event marketing, we have our own email marketing engine, but we do things very, very differently. Not only is it conversational, like we actually during the pandemic, our clients told us, "Hey, look, we can't market, we can't network. Can you guys come up with something where we could get people to show up for our webinars?" So
Oh, yeah.
Sam AI was the first company that came up with one-click event registration. So you send
Oh,
out an email
nice.
blast to all of your ideal clients saying, "Hey, look, we're hosting a webinar. Can you join?" With one click, they're on the web. Everything's added to their calendar. There's no need to register, fill out a form, or anything. So there are
Wow.
a lot of little things that we do in addition to the conversational piece that makes us very, very different. Another piece would be warm intro generator. B2B businesses do so much better when they're able to generate warm introductions.
Mhm.
So that's something that, HubSpot doesn't have. So roundtable, warm intro, those are things that are very, very unique in SAM AI. And also our philosophy is very different. Like, we don't start you off with nothing. We start you off with 5,000 of your ideal client contacts, right?
Wow.
So
Mhm.
so we don't say, okay, here's an empty database and here's some software stack, go figure it out and get trained and get certified. Our philosophy is, here's some of your ideal clients that's based on the personas that you've given us. Now, you don't necessarily need to get trained on SAM. You could just use it from day one just by
That's
talking to
amazing.
it,
Yeah.
literally. More importantly, use things that make the whole process seamless, whether it's to your end client or to yourself. So we also rolled out something called an appointment setter, which sits on your website, and basically it holds a conversation with your site visitor, but it also sets up appointments with them without
Wow.
them being a chatbot. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that we do differently, but yeah, we are in that sales and marketing space, and there are similarities between us and HubSpot. But when you start using SAM AI, you see a dramatic difference.
Oh, yeah, for sure, because I know when I have been using HubSpot, I still don't know how to do everything that they have to offer. I don't feel like I can take advantage of everything because I'm like, I don't have time to learn it. The simplicity that you offer and all the magnitude of tools that come with it just seems like a marketer's dream. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's great. Um, and kind of speaking about the conversational AI, SAM AI is the first conversational intelligence platform aimed at revolutionizing how users can interact with technology, just like we've been talking about. But can you explain the core technology behind SAM AI and how it differentiates from other AI platforms to make it a pioneer in the space? And what
sure.
challenges did you have to overcome by integrating the voice activated AI into your platform?
Sure. So 2019 was the debut of something we call SAM HQ. So basically, at that time, there was no one producing conversational intelligence on demand. Question like, what does my sales pipeline look like? Or how many visitors did I get on my website? And which one of those visitors converted into a customer? Literally talking to the system, asking for data that might sit on 5 different systems, right?
Mhm.
So we literally pioneered it because the concept of conversational intelligence did not exist at that time. Meaning,
Right.
concept of chatbot existed, the concept of business intelligence existed, but the concept of actually talking to it without having an interface, meaning without having to click, tap, or press any button, was an idea of our own. It didn't we weren't inspired by another software, right? We
Hmm.
literally were inspired by philosophy and Star Trek and Bill Gates rather than another software. So we really had no other company to look at in terms of reference. It was genuinely an idea that we conceptualized from our philosophy, from the years of software development that we've done. What does it really mean? So from an end user's point of view, they're able to get data from many different sources and get something that's nuanced, that's conversational. So if you say, how many meetings did I have, or how many female founders did we close a deal with for our investment portfolio in Wyoming, it will be able to gather that data and get you that
That's
information.
incredible.
You
Yeah.
don't have to train the data, right? You don't necessarily, and we don't dabble into other areas. It's just sales and marketing data, relationship oriented data, that type of stuff. So on the back end, we started out with NLP and NLU, natural language processing, natural language understanding. Eventually, we added quite a bit of ML to kind of modify and learn from the mistakes so our users could rate the response that Sam gives them. So, for example,
Hmm.
if you say XYZ and Sam gives you a bad answer, you could rate it bad. So, we use some of those mechanisms to kind of modify uh, our confidence level, our response rate, things like that. And there are some questions we still can't answer that we're still working on, right? So in the world of sales and marketing at this moment, we're able to answer at least half of the typical questions that most companies would have.
Yeah.
So in addition to NLP and LU, we got into, we also started leveraging ML for adapting to some of the nuances and changes. And then towards the end, we integrated a little bit of the overall concept of neural network, which is one of the elements that we have in SAM AI is called SAM Intro. And the way that works is that you get to create your ecosystem. Most businesses have an ecosystem. Let's say, most companies will have a lawyer, maybe an investor, maybe a, real estate broker or other parties that not are not necessarily employed by them, but are part of their ecosystem. Some companies have a huge ecosystem, but they don't really leverage those ecosystems properly, right?
Right.
So what that means is if John, who I buy my computers from, knows Tom, who works at Goldman Sachs, and I'm trying to sell to Goldman Sachs, and I see that John knows him, that's gold mine for me, right? So
Mhm.
we use neural network to figure out who in your network knows who, how well they know them. So you could ask Sam, who in my network could give me an introduction to an investor, or who in my network could give me an introduction to a CMO at Goldman Sachs. And it uses a little bit of neural network to figure out who has what relationship, what is the strength of their relationships, and gives you that answer within maybe 30 to 40 seconds on demand. So there are 3 layers of AI that we're using, and over the last almost 7 years, we've evolved into something that when you start using it, it's like, wow, how does it do it? But there was a lot of iteration of where we are today, you know.
Yeah. Boy, that sounds so powerful. It'd be great for any business, I imagine. um, and can well, can you elaborate on the role that AI is enhancing the efficiency of the account-based selling and your C-suite marketing, especially in terms of data analysis and decision making? How does AI fit into all that?
Yeah. So when you're a B2B company and you're trying to sell to the C-suite, it's very much relationship driven.
Hmm.
It's very much driven by networking events and things like that. So most C-suite executives, they buy through their inner circle of trusted vendors, or maybe at a conference or a trade show. So that's kind of where a lot of these transactions happen. So where
Okay.
does AI come in? We essentially allow our clients to build an ecosystem. I mentioned warm intro, that's one element. And the other element is, let's say, you're in manufacturing and you wanted to get all of the distributors in the US that sell, some type of product, right?
Hmm.
So you could get a list from SAM AI, and then with that list, you could start inviting them to a round table or your networking events. It could be a lunch and learn, a round table, or something like that. And then as they're warmed up for a conversation, then you could use the SAM appointment setter to kind of automate some of the appointment setting requests. So our philosophy is that if you're doing account-based selling, account-based marketing, it's A, good to get a list of your ideal clients. B, it's good to warm them up, using thought leadership, using your expertise to kind of educate them first, right? And then once they're educated, once they've reached a certain level of, once you've done a certain level of touch point, you could then approach them and say, hey, look, we really could help you. We are experts in your industry. These are the three reasons why. Can we get an appointment? So the appointment setting mechanism kind of happens by itself. You could automate it. You could, send those triggers, but we don't recommend doing it, straight out of the box.
Hmm.
I think we understand building relationship is not an overnight thing, right? So
Right.
when it comes to account-based selling, C-suite marketing, it's really all about knowledge share, thought leadership, expert advice for free. Give it away for
Hmm.
free, right? All the things
Hmm.
you've learned, just give it away. Once you've given it away, then you could simply ask, give first and then ask maybe for a 15-minute conversation or something like that. And, that's sort of the philosophy. And it has worked for us and our clients. And that's really, the engine of SAM AI. It's the three or four elements that most companies don't have altogether. The ideal client contact list, the warm up or the lead, nurturing piece, as well as the automated appointment setting piece, using all three aspects using AI in a kind of a interwoven manner to get you the end result of closing deals.
Yeah. And you mentioned finding the ideal client list and businesses not always having that. Where does SAM AI get that information?
We get that from a couple of sources, right? So one of our investors is Dun& Bradstreet through Newark Venture Partners.
Oh.
So that's
Hmm.
one. So this is information that's already in the public domain
Okay.
on social media and other sources. And those engines are already, syndicating that data.
Right.
People that want to opt out of those engines could always opt out. So we don't sell any customer data or produce customer data and sell it to other people. We simply, we simply give them an option to subscribe to that data using data source from other sources that we trust. And
Yeah.
then every time they're interacting with that client could always opt out, right? So it's a very
Okay.
discretionary approach. And this is very much different than, setting up something in a sales appointment setting software where you are sending 10 spam emails just to get an appointment without building trust, without building relationships. So our philosophy is get the right clients in your database, start establishing trust and relationship, inviting them to events and roundtables and things like that, and then ask for something versus
Right.
Hey, can I get an appointment with you? Oh, you didn't respond. Can I also get
Yes,
an appointment with you? Oh, you still didn't respond. Can I also get another appointment? That's silly. It
exactly.
doesn't work. The response rate is horrible. Versus warm intros and educating people on what you do and really giving away knowledge that you've established over the years. We have certain verticals: wealth management, commercial real estate, IT services. These are businesses that often struggle to sell their stuff because they have so much expertise. And the reason why commercial real estate brokers do well in terms of transaction is because they have so much knowledge about that local area, right?
Right.
If someone
Hmm.
comes to San Diego, they want to talk to Michael, at tenantreps.com because he knows
Exactly.
the area. He knows how to help them avoid mistakes. He knows how to help them negotiate in many cases, and he also knows how to kind of find the perfect thing for that client with that unique set of criteria that the client has. You can't replace that by saying, "Hey, I am Michael. Can I get an appointment with you?" Right? You really have to
Right.
kind of build that relationship first. And same thing for wealth managers and some of the other verticals. They have so much knowledge about their industry that they ought to give it away first with content that's relevant to that customer, right? So if you're talking to CEOs, you don't want to send them marketing materials. You want to send them some things that are relevant to a CEO, like contract negotiation or finding the best possible work culture environment for your team, things like that. Those are the things
Hmm.
that CEOs care about, rather than saying, I could get you the best square footage out of your buck in your area. That won't resonate with them. So in our scenario, we emphasize focusing on the right type of clients, their their position, and then marrying that with the content. The
Hmm.
content that you create on SAM could be auto-generated, right? So you could say, look, my target audience is CEO. I'm going after tech companies and generate some content related to how we help CEOs in San Diego that are looking for commercial real estate. So the generative engine that we have, it uses that information and kind of drafts out content for you, and you could then later tweak it. So there's quite a bit of things that happens in the back end, but I feel like because I'm a product lead as well as the CEO of SAM AI, I often like to go into details, but I'll stop boring you with
Yeah, no,
all the
it's
features.
fascinating and it's amazing too because Sam AI has a staggering 402% improvement in productivity and conversational intelligence. Do you have an example or a case study where Sam AI has significantly transformed a client's business processes?
Yeah, on our website, there are at least a dozen or two testimonials.
Hmm.
The 402 number came from a side-by-side comparison of doing sales and marketing tasks. So on one side, we used on our software, mouse and keyboard, right? To get things done, like
Hmm.
send out an email to this list, to these people with all these filters. So the amount of time that took versus saying, send out an email to these people with this template was literally four times faster, right?
Yeah.
So just saying it versus going through the interface and filtering and then doing all that other stuff took a lot longer. So
Hmm.
that's a legitimate number based on timing both what it takes a traditional system versus what it takes a conversational system. A
Yeah.
conversational system is a system that is smart enough to understand specialized tasks, such as, create a user or open a folder or send out an email campaign or tell me how many event invitees we have from last week's roundtable. All of that, if you were to do that manually with, your mouse and keyboard, it would take you a lot longer. And when
Hmm.
we clock the two different interfaces, the conversational interface with voice activation, meaning you're not typing, you're literally just talking to it, was dramatically faster. So, and we
Right.
have that video posted on YouTube that actually shows that. It's about an 18-minute video. But yeah,
Nice. That's amazing. It seems like the future's here already.
yeah, it is. It's going to be pretty transformative, I think, and
Hmm.
there's so much in the pipeline, I think, that
Yeah.
will change the landscape. When you look at sort of the the revolution we had in business world in general. First it was, internet, right? Then, well, first, the PC era, then the internet era.
Mm,
Then it was, possibly automation and globalization and offshoring and nearshoring and all of that. And now you've got AI. And I think there are uh, some huge potential for companies to take advantage of it
mhm,
before it displaces them from a competitive landscape. And it's not just my claim. I mean, this is what most people feel. Most people feel that it's something you either embrace, and if you don't embrace it, you're going to get outpaced. It's like a slam dunk contest where your competitors have like a spring on their sneakers so they can jump 5 feet
mhm.
higher than you can. So it gives you that boost.
Yeah. And kind of talking about the future, as AI defines business landscapes and conversational AI evolves, what emerging trends do you believe will be pivotal for small and medium-sized businesses? And how do you see SAM AI shaping that evolution of conversational AI to meet those future challenges and support the growth of these businesses?
Yeah, I think people have seen the power of conversational content, meaning, write a blog about this, and they've seen the power. What we've been working on is mainly conversational action and conversational intelligence, which is
Mm,
generate this report, tell me more about this that I don't know or that I cannot find out. Uh, like, for example, if you ask Sam, how many meetings did I have with the CEO in New York in the last 5 years that are in manufacturing? Only Sam could do that, right?
mm,
Because you can't get that from your Outlook or your Google Calendar. You
right.
literally have to merge data from many different sources. So I think being able to make decisions faster is one trend for
Hmm.
CEOs, right? For those types of businesses. But also, you could create awesome videos with Synthesia, for example, another product out there. You could create awesome content with ChatGPT, obviously. You could do so many other things beyond just, you know, uh, you could do so many other things to kind of scale your small mid-sized business that you couldn't have done just maybe 12 months ago. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So it's a huge advantage for small businesses that could definitely catapult into the next sort of strata of growth compared
Hmm.
to just 12 months ago when they would have to spend a lot of time, money to get those things done. You know.
Yeah, that's true. That's amazing for sure. Um, and SAM AI says that they want to support the small giants of the economy. So how do you ensure that your platform remains accessible and beneficial to businesses of this scale amid the rapid technological advances? How do you keep up with technology?
Yeah. Yeah, our philosophy is to kind of give existing marketers, existing sales teams a lot more power,
Hmm.
and CEOs a lot more decision-making power. Uh, we're not creating a system like bots to replace people. We're not
Right.
really in the business of. We don't really like big companies, to be honest
Mm.
with you. We don't
Mhm.
we don't have a single client that's a multinational, $3 billion company, and we don't care about them that much. I think if you look at society as a whole, big companies have a tremendous amount of responsibility, and I don't think they've taken their responsibilities very well,
True.
to an extent that the amount of influence they have, the amount of in our politics, the amount of corruption that most major companies have. There needs to be a new breed of companies that are more conscious, more agile, more disruptive to not just make money for themselves, but also to lower the cost of living for a lot of people, right? Think
Yes.
about the
Yes.
3D printed houses, think about all sorts of other things that could revolutionize the way people live.
Hmm.
So I think creating, most tech companies will create something super, super revolutionary and then sell it to large companies because that's where most of the money is.
Gotcha.
We don't have that model. We never had that model, right?
Hmm.
Uh, we sure we have few companies using some of our products, but when you look at our marketing approach and our selling approach, we like to cater to the 5 to 5,000. Why that number? Well, it doesn't have to be that number, but what we find is that most companies that are less than 5 employees, they don't really need all this stuff, right? They could do
Right.
some things in a couple of different software, they're done. But when you have a team of 5 or more, you want some cohesiveness. You want something that a team could use where, one person not using this software, another person not using some other software, and you want to collect that data to kind of get metrics where you could see where you could improve. So
Hmm.
so whenever you have a team of 5 or more, it and you want to give them a single platform for sales and marketing, it synergistically helps them uh, to kind of reduce redundancies, streamline workflow, and just get better results. So yeah, I mean, I think innovation is great, but I think innovation is needed drastically for those small companies that
Yeah.
can't afford it right now.
Yeah. That's great. It's that, like you said, that we need a new generation of big businesses. So that's perfect. And kind of shifting gears from the innovative strides and business aspects of SAM AI, we'd love to get to know the person behind your vision a little better. So, if you're open to sharing, we just have a couple of personal questions for you.
Sure, sure, sure.
Um, so, given your vast experience, what advice would you offer to aspiring entrepreneurs looking to make a mark in the tech industry and especially the AI space?
Yeah, I think with entrepreneurship, you're going to take some level of risk. So you have to start getting uncomfortable uh, with not having things that you might already be used to, right?
Yeah.
That's like, for example, you're going to have be comfortable with losing clients. You're going to have
Hmm.
to be comfortable with not being able to meet your payroll on time. You're going to have to be comfortable in making the wrong decision several times before you make the right decision.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be that way, but those things will come up, and you kind of have to have the the mental strength for that. And the other thing is, I think you have to have certain level of resilience in what you believe in,
Hmm.
irrespective of what feedback you get. Meaning, if you're set out to make the best pair of shoes, and you know in your heart that it is the best pair of shoes, and you're being pragmatic about it. So what I mean by pragmatic is that you not only feel it in your gut, but you've done your analysis and you know for a fact that this has the best possible result for whoever's going to buy those pair of shoes.
Hmm.
Then just be, just be gung ho about it and go all the way. Don't worry about the feedback and other things. Just start tweaking your messaging, start tweaking your approach. Entrepreneurship teaches you to evolve, grow, change, and repeat every 6 months the same thing, right? So you're you start getting used to liking yourself a lot because if you don't like yourself, you're going to hate yourself. And what I mean by
That's true.
liking yourself is that you really have to devote some time into uh, being disciplined, whether it's sports, yoga, meditation. You have to find ways to really have a level of comfort with yourself because there are going to be times, like I said, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to be faced with circumstances that you had no control over. So you have to trust your instincts, and you also have to trust yourself, and you have to
Hmm.
fall back on either spirituality, a good routine, mental break, exercise, meditation, all of those things.
Yeah.
So it's very psychological.
Hmm. Yep. That's true. And how do you like to spend your free time? Are there any hobbies or interests that might surprise people when they learn about them?
Yeah, so growing up in New York, I played, all sorts of American sports all my life, basketball, American football, baseball. But just about 3 years ago, I started picking up soccer, and I sucked at it for the first 2 years, and lately I've been getting good at it. So yeah, so I'm learning new things. I get I get pretty excited when I when I make a goal. Sometimes
Yeah.
even more excited than other things that I should. And I'm in my 40s, so
Yeah.
it's yeah, that's probably one surprising thing because people don't pick up new sports in their 40s, especially competitive
Right.
sports like soccer. So yeah, but no, I think I've learned a lot, and I think yoga is another thing that helped me. And when I say yoga, I'm not talking going to yoga studio. I think
Mhm.
going to yoga studio is a good thing, but when you do power yoga, which leads to meditation, that's also very powerful. I think
Yeah.
the key is for entrepreneurs is that you really have to address your health concerns. Be sort of the most optimal version of yourself mentally and physically to be able to tackle complex situations. And not
That's
everyone
true.
has to do it, but if you have those things under your belt, you're just going to get things done so much faster and
Yeah,
better.
or simply taking like a 10 or 15-minute walk to clear your head outside or something. I found that that's helpful for me as well. So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
It
you
doesn't
need to
have to
build
be anything
in,
complex. Yeah.
yeah, you need to build
It's
in those small little breaks to, help your mental health for sure. And it's I always come back to the airplane safety demonstrations where it's like you have to put on your mask before you can help someone else because if you're not prepared and able to lead, how can you help others to do so? So,
that's a great
that's good.
analogy. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And Ross, thanks so much for taking your time to share with us about your journey and the transformative work you're doing with SAM AI. Your insights today have not only helped us understand AI's potential, but also have highlighted the human spirit behind the technology advancement. And it's such a powerful platform. I'm so excited for more businesses to try it.
Thanks, Alicia. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And you can discover more about SAM AI and explore the conversational AI that how it's changing the business landscape by visiting the website sam.ai. And to our audience, we hope this conversation today has ignited your interest in the evolving role of AI in business. Ross's journey underscores the power of innovation rooted in real world needs. And thank you for joining us. We look forward to bringing you more conversations that delve into the heart of AI's impact in our world. So keeping you connected to tomorrow. Today, this is Alicia with AiNews.com.